Hey guys, we are on Ovation of the Seas, and I wanted to kind of capture some of the things that we went through in order to actually qualify to actually go onto the ship. And so today what I wanted to walk through was our process by getting on the ship. Today is day 2 for us here on the ship that I am on right now, on Royal Caribbean cruise line ship called Ovation of the Seas. And so we have 4 kids, one that was 5 and just got her last dose of vaccine because she just turned 5 a couple weeks ago. And so even though she has been now fully vaccinated twice, the fact that her second dose didn't qualify within a 14-day window before we got on the ship, that meant that she had to do an extra test even though she's fully vaccinated. And so what I want to walk through is that process as well as a check-in process. And I wanted to share with you the entire process from start to finish on how long it actually took for us to get on Ovations of the Sea. So stay tuned. So the night before the cruise, we stayed at Maxwell A Stay Pineapple Hotel. So it was pretty inexpensive for a family of 6 because most hotel rooms don't have rooms for a family of 6. And so we got a bigger room for I think around $300 that night prior to the trip. And so what we did was we got into Seattle at around 4 p.m. So we took an Uber Black from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel to the actual port where they actually dropped us off in the front of like the terminal where the lines were. That only took about a 10-minute ride from our hotel room. But overall, the process between the time we got dropped off by Uber to the point where we actually got a negative test for our daughter, that was about 2 hours. So at 11:25 is when he dropped us off. Our boarding time, mind you, was noon. And so we just booked it right before we wanted to get to the cruise terminal, and it was a pretty quick ride. And there was a little bit of traffic, but it wasn't too bad. So I'll kind of walk you guys through in the video so you can see what the journey is. But I have heard that if you do order an Uber, sometimes some of those Ubers, I guess, don't have passes. And so they'll drop you off about 3 blocks away from the cruise terminal, which can be kind of bad if you have a ton of luggage. And so we actually did carry-ons all the way from Kansas City to Seattle and onto boarding the ship. And so we had a bunch of carry-ons. We had a total of 5 roller bags, and the husband had 2 bags that he had carrying over his shoulder. And then by the time that we actually got all of our bags out of our Uber, within 10 steps, there was a porter already there waiting to get all of our stuff. I think we actually had to hail him down, but it was only like a matter of minutes. We didn't have to wait very long. But what I would recommend is that before you get dropped off, you should have these printed out. I know that I saw a ton of people who didn't have these printed out, and so they had to wait in these long lines. And so I recommend printing these out. And a lot of people I've seen actually have these like printed out on a piece of paper, like it said to do, right? And then they were told to like fold it over so that it would be more durable and put onto the actual part of the bag, the handle of the bag. But I did see a lot of paper on the floor with these tags on them, so I would be afraid to actually even use the paper version. So I would recommend getting these plastic ones with like this steel reinforced, I don't know, what do you call it, like a handle. I'll go ahead and link it to the descriptions below. It's about $5 for a pack of like 6, so it's not too bad at all. But I'll link those down there. And I saw a lot of people having these, and I've used this for about 3 cruises now, and they've worked just great. And then I just leave them on until our next cruise. All right, so let's talk about the porter a bit. I've read a lot of online reviews and also have watched people with luggage who didn't use a porter. I think porters actually work off of tip, and so once he took our bags, I just tipped him $20, and we, from the process of like going onto the ship and waiting in all the lines to getting to our room, was fairly quick on the Ovation of the Seas. Out of all of our bags, 2 bags didn't arrive until just a couple hours later, which wasn't a big deal at all. And so let's talk about like the lines. Like the lines are kind of crazy. I mean, but they move fast. So the lines are super long, but they move fast. What I mean is that there are about 4 different lines that you're going to have to go through. The first one is the one outside. And then when you get to like where the door is to actually go in, what they're looking for is your passport. And they'll also give the kids a sticker if they need PCR tests. And so what that means is that there's this like teal colored PCR test, and I think it's for kids under the age of 12, just to make sure that either they're vaccinated or get tested. And so they got their sticker, and then we went inside to the inside waiting area, and that was like maybe 8 lines crisscrossing all around, and there are bathrooms in there, but the lines go really, really fast, so I would not recommend going in the bathroom there. And then once you do that, you're able to go up to the elevator, and when you get to the elevator, there's another line for security. And you don't necessarily need to take off your shoes or anything like that. They just want everything in the bin. You don't have to take any of the liquids and all that stuff out. They're just like, whatever you're carrying onto the ship, they want to be able to check that. And then once you get past through security, you'll wait until you're called upon, and then they'll find like an attendant. I don't know what they're called, but like an attendant to check you in. And so they'll take a picture of you via their iPad or whatever device that they have, along with verifying the vaccines and the paperwork that goes along with it. And so when I went to him and I explained, hey, she is fully vaccinated, but that second dose doesn't qualify until 14 days after, and she's in that 14-day window, she had to go get tested. And so the testing process, like standing in line, there were only like 3 people in front of us, and there were 2 people administering the test. And so she sat down and she took the test. They just did a little swab between the nose for like 15 seconds each, and then took the vaccines. And so once they swabbed her nose, then after that we went to another attendant that was like close by, who said that our antigen test results would actually be emailed to us. And I thought that was kind of weird. So we were waiting there, and like I was hoping that I'd have service. The service was like spotty for my T-Mobile service in there. So I restarted my phone and turned off the Wi-Fi because I couldn't connect to the Ovation of the Seas Wi-Fi because I didn't buy the Wi-Fi package. And so so from the time that she got tested to when we got the results, it was literally about 10 minutes, if that. But the entire process took about 2 hours. From 11:26 to 1:25 is the duration of the check-in process, which I thought was crazy, knowing that our check-in time was at noon. So I got a lot of notifications saying that we should arrive at our time. Lines were kind of long, and but they went by super fast, at least because we were excited about going on the cruise ship, and then we were nervous that the test could potentially mean that we'd have to cancel our trip. Thankfully, that didn't happen. So once we got past the negative test, it came via email. I showed it to the attendant. They took a picture of it from my email. And then after that, we were able to go on board the ship, and that was literally it. And I would recommend checking in as soon as you can. The bumper cars starts at 2:30 on the ship, which is pretty awesome. The entire family was able to go on it. You have to be like 42 inches to get onto that. And then in terms of embarking, make sure you have the Royal app installed before you get to the cruise terminal. Okay, so if all your family members have, even if you're not using Wi-Fi, the app will actually work inside the ship. The place that you actually book everything is via the Royal Caribbean app. So just make sure that you have it all downloaded and ready to go. And as soon as you embark, make sure that you book Pixels. I think Live, Love, Legs is another one for mature audiences. And basically anything, if you want to do like the iFly version on the Royal Caribbean, I think it's called like Ripcord or something. And then also if you want to do like the North Star that we've been seeing go around, and it's complimentary whenever we are in port somewhere, so just a heads up there. Otherwise it's like $29 a person or something. I'll go ahead and screenshot that and share with you how much it costs on our trip. But overall, that is the embarkation process this year of 2022 on Ovation of the Seas. Again, this is the seventh sailing this year for Ovation of the Seas to Alaska, and so far everything's been super smooth. Embarkation just took a bit, so I just want you guys to be prepared for that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm also going to post more videos, unless I already have them here and here, that you guys can check out so that you have an idea of basically what to expect on Ovation of the Seas with Royal Caribbean.